and start the tape back up now. All right. Begins in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to There Will Be Dungeons, Session 6, with Bo, John, Scott, Kyle, and Kristen. Bo, take it away.
Previously on There Will Be Dungeons, our heroes ascended the Great Well and returned to the Dragon Engine Room to make its final repairs. And they were visited by the spirit of an ancient being, the first Hillmaster, Peter. And from him they learned the Dragon Engine was fueled by the blood of sacrificed humans. After obtaining education on the remaining things they needed to know to get the well into operation, they turned it on. And the water flowed to the surface. And the first Hillmaster said his final words and disappeared into nothingness. Having been gone from Dust Hill several days, the heroes were not sure what to expect when they returned, but alas, they discovered a goblin attack had raided the town and killed many of the townsfolk and kidnapped others. After a brief skirmish, the leader of the goblins proposed a match of champions to Vorel, the lizard folk, against the goblins' mighty champion, Rasfertu. Vorel emerged victorious and reclaimed the town of Dust Hill for the Dust Hillites, or Dust Hillians. I'm not sure which one that is.
Dust Hillians is good. I like it.
After their victory, the party learned that there was a lot to take care of in the aftermath of the Goblin Raid. After speaking to several townsfolk and saving a few children, they received as a gift a map from Boxto, the halfling who runs the trading post. And with this map, they discovered there was a greater world out there. But first, the heroes have to tend to the wounded and to the future of Dust Hill. It is evening, the same day that we left off last episode. I believe everyone had convened outside the trading post to discuss what next steps they were going to take. Stanley, you had sent Shunty off to tell everyone that there would be a meeting tomorrow morning of the town and for everyone to gather in the gathering circle out in front of the Hillmaster's tent.
That's right, and I feel like there are a couple other things that we are going to have to take care of before we call it an evening. The first thing is, and actually, Bo, this might be for you. I went through the town and I was doing a pretty extensive look for Talia. Mm-hmm. Have I seen any Scoutmasters in the town?
No, you haven't seen the Scoutmasters, but they are a thing.
They're there. They're certified. They'll give you the merit
we
badges
haven't really
you
talked.
earn.
We mentioned it a few times on the show. So yes, Scoutmasters are a thing for this town, but you haven't come across any of them since the beginning of the show. So
right. So I didn't see any in the town. Is that for a lack of knowledge of what a Scoutmaster is, or just there don't seem to be any in the town?
Nope. You've met them because they are the ones that do the vetting for. So that would have happened to all of you at one point. You would have met maybe an elf or a human who didn't disclose too much information about themselves, who sort of guided you into citizenship. Or in Vorel's case, into a business relationship. And in Nash's case, no one's quite sure how you came to be there because you kind of stay in town, but you end up in town. And I think in Nash's case, it's more people just assume the other guy said it was okay.
Yeah.
So no one actually vetted you, and no one actually. You didn't have this experience that Hope and Stanley would have had, and even Vorel. Yeah. People have just let you in, and it's just been unexplained.
I am a security risk, that I know, for sure.
All right, there are a few things that I think we need to take care of. It is my opinion, and tell me if you disagree, that our first course of action needs to be recovering those who were taken by the goblins.
Agreed.
I can support that.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Now, with that in mind, tracking them is going to get harder the longer and longer we wait. I was hoping we could run into somebody who could potentially scout or track them in the meantime, seeing as we need to be around for this meeting in the morning. But in lieu of that, I also think we need to see to the town's defense while we're gone. We've already seen what happens if all of the hill guard are off and the town is undefended. To that end, I have an idea. What if we gather the weapons that are in the Dragon Engine room and the weapons that are scattered around town, and I would propose that we make Jimster responsible for arming a militia while we're gone. He seemed to be one of the few that was actually defending people, and therefore he probably is knowledgeable about who could perform such a duty while we're away.
I think Jimster would be up for it, and that sounds like a great idea. As for tracking Vorel, you lived in the desert, didn't you? Would you be able to track such smelly goblins?
Their tracks are probably readily available outside, as well as the fools leaving town so late in the evening. We could probably spot their camps if we got up high enough.
That sounds good. Vorel, do you think you could be in charge of that? One other thing I'm interested in, we did manage to kill a few goblins, and we heard them speed out on vehicles. Maybe check to see if there were any left behind. I don't know if there would be or not. They probably tried to get as many with them as possible, but it's another thing to keep an eye out for.
We should also examine their weaponry. I did not fully expect them to be so well armed, and the bullet to my face was more painful than goblin weaponry would intend. They may have trading partners.
That's a very good point. I think that what we should do, Vorel, I'm going to go ahead and put you on tracking duty. Your goal is to not pursue them all the way, but to see if you can at least get an idea in the direction that they're going, so that when we set off tomorrow, we have an idea of what we're going to do. Hope, I'm going to say that you would be the prime candidate for weapon gathering and talking to Jimster, because honestly, I don't think Nash and Jimster are going to get along very well. It's not working out between the two of them.
They both like to speak their minds a lot, which is respectable, but I think you're right there. Also, I have a vehicle I've been working on. I thought I was going to get out of here before this whole thing ever happened. So we don't need goblin cars.
Well, access to a vehicle would be very good, so that will help us a great deal. I'm going to go ahead and give Hope the key to the Dragon Engine room so that she can get in there and get the weapons from there. I will go ahead and entrust you talking to Jimster about setting up a militia. We're going to want to have that set up as soon as possible so that we can leave as early as possible.
All right, I'm on it, and then I'll take off.
While we're giving this to Hope, I give her the jetpack, which has been dropped a few times in the heat of battle as the backpack's gone on and off, and the sunglasses.
To look cool.
Well, I guess I can...
There you go.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh! Well, aren't these nice? They make it hard to see, but thank you, Vorel.
No use to me.
Forgot you had those.
They just sat on his head.
Yeah.
They didn't cover his eyes at all.
Until you forgot.
Nash, I have a not exactly pressing mission for you, but one that I do feel we should probably look into. If you would be so kind as to go make sure the well is actually working. I know that while we were in the engine room, it seemed to be, but we would look awfully silly if we said, "You're welcome for restoring the well," and found out the thing just wasn't doing anything at all.
If it's not running, what do I do? What do we want to do? What's the plan?
Well, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Oh, another bridge. Great. Okay, you got it. I'm gonna check out the well, and if there's no water, if you don't see me again, avenge my freaking death. These people are thirsty and pissed.
Oh my god, that was good.
10 out of 10.
And then I think the only other thing that Stanley would probably want to do tonight before going to think about the speech that he might have to give to the town, is I think he should probably go see if he can try and find Jen Jen.
Okay, so everyone's splitting off to do their tasks basically at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then
I did have one question for the group before we split.
Oh, okay.
In my understanding, this will be a hunting party, a celebrated event, but the people of the town seem rather grumpy. We in the morning meet in fanfare and proceed out, or do we have to rough them up a little bit, declare a king?
Well, I think maybe somewhere between column A and column B, Vorel. I don't think we need to go in ready to rough anybody up, but right now their friends and family are either dead or missing, and this town is not used to being attacked. I imagine a lot of people are very scared right now, and so it's definitely not going to be a celebration, but
A vulgar
Maybe-
display of power may be in use. We bring out the car all together. Maybe someone jumps from on high on top of it and strikes a pose to the sun.
if that moment comes up, Vorel, I think we should. That's probably the best idea.
Excellent. I will see you all in the morn. And I head to the desert.
Okay. So Vorel takes off. We will get to Vorel. You can stay, so you're splitting off, but we can stay in groups just so we can save time about having to re-explain what's been happening, since this is fairly cooperative tasks. So there's still the three of you, and Vorel has left out the front gate, I presume. You're exiting Dust Hill. Okay.
I like the way Vorel walks.
Yeah, it's sexy. It's a good look. All right, so the
Okay.
three of us are still there, and he's off?
Yeah.
All right. I had a thought, but I forgot what it was.
Okay.
I completely spaced it. It was pretty good, though. It was a good
I
use of my dark time, but I can't remember what it was now.
Your dark time.
Yeah. All time is dark time for Nash. He's dark. So I had some plans, but I don't
All right,
remember
well-
what it was.
Maybe you should go to the well, and you can think about what that sweet crack was and tell people about it tomorrow morning.
All right, I'm gonna go to the well, and I'm gonna see if that thing's working. If that is okay with you
Okay,
guys.
so Nash is off to the well. So Hope, your task is to who's rounding up the guns? Is that you?
Yes, I'm headed down to the engine room to collect any weaponry down there. But before I do that, I got the rocket pack from Vorel, so I'm going to drop that off at
Okay.
the auto station that we
Sure.
have so I can refuel it before heading down.
Okay, and Stanley's going to find Jen Jen.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with you, Hope. So you head over to the garage. You drop off. You open it. You have the key to the garage door. The garage is in a cliff face that sort of surrounds Demicrescent, the area overlooking Dust Hill, and it's built in to the mountain. And the garage exit leads to the exterior of Dust Hill. Thinking about Vorel's plan to drive to the center of town to do the show-off thing, you realize there's no roads and there's no way to drive anything in Dust Hill. So you make a note of that.
Sorry, Vorel.
Yeah, so you drop off the rocket pack and the aviators, I suppose. That's about it that you're going to do here.
Yeah, I'll drop the aviators off in the car.
Your vehicle's in fine shape. It's covered with a tarp right now, but you sort of lift it up, look at it. It's nothing here has been disturbed from the goblin
Give
attack.
it a little pet, little rub.
Okay, so are you going to collect weapons from underground?
Yes.
Okay, so just so there are people now out and about. It's not too busy, but there are people here and there talking in town. There are people sort of milling about not many, but here and there. So, is there any stealthy approach to entering the tent, or is this you just going in?
I'm just gonna go in. I'm thinking nothing of it.
Okay, all right. So you enter in. You're gonna pick up the guns there. Where else do you plan on picking up guns? Like just from around what's lying around?
Yeah, what's lying around there? I was gonna take a quick check down in the engine room because I don't remember if we grabbed everything or not, and if we missed something, that would be nice to have.
Okay, so there was a hunting rifle, if memory serves, in there.
Yeah.
That Holga had, and Thomas also had more of it's just a different in design, basically, effectively the same thing. There weren't any other weapons down there, ballistic weapons, anyways. Yeah, I mean, everything is as you left it, including the bridge that's securely fastened. Was there anything else that you wanted to do while you were down there collecting weapons?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm gonna look at the dragon engine for just a little bit, spend some time. I'm gonna go down there for just the weapons, but then the engine catches my eye, and I can't help it. I gotta go check it out, maybe touch it a little. If it's too hot, I won't actually touch it.
It's humming quite loudly. It is glowing a bright red orange. As you approach it, the horn, you can feel the horns on your head. You know, people have described to you how that proximity to magical source that causes your horns to desolidify and become like they're in water, almost like gelatinous.
Put my fingers through them?
You can't put your fingers through them, but you can play with them like they're a super thick strand of hair. And you're actually kind of worried that maybe if you leave, you might set them in the wrong different shape than where they were.
That's amazing. Oh, and then I remembered too, it feeds on blood, and we didn't feed it my blood when it was turned on. So I'm going to see if I can feed it some blood now that it's turned on to see if anything cool happens.
So you sort of feel your hand close to the engine, and it's extremely hot. In fact, even just having your hand close to it, you can feel a burning sensation, like
Okay.
So you'd have to shut it off to safely do anything with it, which you can do. It's
because it's already running on my blood in there anyway. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll sadly leave the engine with the guns.
Okay.
Go back up, and then I'll look for Jimster.
Okay, so you're looking for Jimster. All right. So
and I locked the door behind me.
So as part of
Good call.
as part of your search of the town, you do find a couple more rifles in town. They already belong to you, so you're aware that there was a munitions closet in the garage, which Jimster probably would have armed a few people with during the raid. So they didn't really belong to the goblins. You also do find two revolvers that definitely don't belong to you, that probably the goblins came in and dropped at some point. They're just, they work as revolvers, but they're not, special looking or shiny. They look pretty. They're black, very small, like something you see like in an 80s. So it's really crummy looking revolver types. I don't know what they're called, but they are also there. So all said, you've got about 6 rifles and 2 revolvers.
Perfect.
And your best bet at looking for Jimster would probably be at his hut. Since it's evening and he wasn't in the garage, he's probably at his hut.
Cool. Well, I will head that way with the weapons in tow.
Okay. So you head over to his hut. It's 3 in, 10 to the left. And there's his hut. You see a little light emanating from one of the window holes in the hut.
I will knock on the door. Jimster, it's me, Hope.
Hope! 1 minute! And you hear some ruffling and some stuff falling over, and he opens the door, and he's just in short, undershorts and a t-shirt at this point. This is old. He's got skinny legs, but he's got a big, round gut, and he's bald on top a bit, but he's got his gray hair, and he's like, "Hello, Hope. How's it going?"
It's going great, Jimster. Now, look, I'm sorry to interrupt so late at night, but I have a really important question to ask you.
Sure, of course, anything.
We're leaving in the morning to see if we can get those that were taken from the town, but we don't want to leave the town unguarded. We don't want another attack by the goblins. And we think you'd be the best one to lead a militia.
Lead a militia? Jeez. That's a big thing to ask. You know me. You know I don't want to do something like that. I just want to stay in my garage and I'll fix up your guns for you. But that's not for me, man.
I know, Jimster, but there's no one else in town we'd trust more. And you did such an incredible job protecting everyone when it did happen.
So what do you mean? Are you planning on leaving me, Hope? Aren't you going to be here? Can't we defend the town together? Or are you going after them goblins?
We're going after the goblins. I have to be the one to drive. No one else knows how to drive that thing.
Roll a persuasion check, please.
Is he basically naked? What's he wearing?
He's wearing,
Scott,
like boxers and t-shirt.
Okay,
he's at his
all right.
home chilling out.
All right. I'm trying to imagine. I'm trying to build I'm making a picture story in my head here.
He's also wearing jungle socks.
Great. Great.
Jimster's the best. 22.
All right, look at here, Hope. I'm only going to do it for you, and you have to promise to come back. I'm not being left in charge to get myself killed, being the next Hillmaster or whatever they're going to do. They're crazy here. That's why I like my garage. I understand my machines. That makes sense. And look, if push comes to shove, I'm going to help people. But I don't want to be no leader. That's not my strong suit.
That's fair, Jimster.
So you promise you're coming back.
I promise, Jimster. We'll come back, and we'll come back with the people that were taken. And then when we get back, you'll be relieved. You won't have to lead the town.
So what do you want me to do? Like I'm a hill guard now, basically?
Yes, I'm the people, those that can fight, that you can fight. Guard the entrances, guard the exits. Keep everyone safe until we get back.
All right, and who's helping me with this? You got some names in mind, or I just need to find them? I mean, we got Teddy. You know Teddy. He's a little slow, but he works. We'll get him up there on the ridge, but we're going to need more than Teddy.
We can ask around tomorrow. I think there's going to be a town meeting, and so I can talk to Stanley, and we can see who would like to protect the town.
All right, girl, but all right, I'll do it. We'll figure out a way, but you got to promise you're coming back.
I promise, Jimster. I will be
here
back.
with all these weirdos.
I won't, Jimster. We'll have a drink when I get back, okay?
And is there anything more I can help you with? Because I'm gonna go sleep, I think.
No, you thank you. It means a lot.
All right. Yeah.
I'll head back to the garage with the guns in tow and start cleaning them up and making sure they work well and doing my final checks on the vehicle.
All right. Oops, I'm not Jimster anymore. Nash, we now go back in time a little bit, a few hours.
Yep.
And your task has been to go check the well.
How far am I from the well? Is it a long distance?
So from the trading post to the well, it's maybe 5-minute walk.
All right. I'm going to walk there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at the well.
Mm-hmm.
Am I alone? Who's there? Just me?
Some people, there's like, you might see 2 people walking. Like, it's not busy or anything, but they're, Dust Hill's a small village.
Right.
There are people around right now.
Right. Okay.
But not many. No one's paying you no mind.
I walk up there. I kind of cast a glance here and there. I'd probably get noticed because it's hard not to notice my disgusting visage.
Oh, you're definitely seen in there. Yeah.
Sure, but they know of me, or at least have an idea that there's a weirdo around here. Probably best not to mess with him, right? Isn't that kind of my reputation?
Generally, you notice people steer clear of you.
Okay, and I don't know whether it's because my tumor smell, or if they are scared, or any of that, right?
How could you not know if your tumor's smelling?
I've lost all my good senses. I barely have an eye. I can touch, but I can't smell anything. All right, so I'm gonna walk over to the well, and I'm gonna look and see if there's water in the well. And
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the well is this. There's this sort of metallic box, this pump machinery, and then there's a spout that comes out and bends down a bit, and you see the valve. Like it's about this. You'd have to like turn the crank to open the valve.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that. I'm going to turn the crank. Do I need
Okay.
Do I need to roll anything for that?
No, it's not very difficult. I mean, there's an initial like because it's Shanti apparently quite strong. He seals it quite shut. Sometimes people turn valves off too
Sure.
tight, and it's just they're hard to move. So there's an initial like, and then you start wheeling it, and then you start hearing, and then the water starts flowing out.
Oh, look. There's water. I can go back and tell my friends there's tons of water. Just look at this stuff. And I reach down with my hand and I take a big scoop of it and I put it in my mouth. And I think, oh, man, the work we've done. Clearly, this is the great day. And everyone just sort of stares at me. But yes, I've confirmed that the water's good.
Okay. Are you going to turn it off? Or are you going to...
Yeah, I'll turn off the water. I'm not going to let it run. That seems like a waste.
Okay, so you turn it off.
There you
All right. Well, so it occurs to you that Stanley didn't give you the hardest of tasks out of the 4 of you. And your mission's all done, but like 5 minutes have gone by. Do you want to do anything else?
I want to know if the people know. So can I talk to somebody near there? I'd like to just ask
sure.
them. All right. Excuse me.
Okay, so you approach. I mean, so there's a person standing by themselves in this area. Sorry, there's a man and a woman off in a corner, just sort of speaking in hushed tones. There's a person by them, a woman who's knitting something, an older woman on a bench nearby against like a hut. Maybe it's her house. She's just sitting outside of her house doing that. And there's a few kids playing, just sort of running between the rows of houses that you notice nearby.
Okay, I'm going to talk to the couple. So I'm going to walk over there and interrupt them.
Okay, and so as you approach, they notice coming towards you, and they start talking to each other hurriedly, and then they both turn to look at you. And the woman, who's about 5 foot, these are humans, her eyes are just wide in like trepidation as to what's going to happen, and the guy's kind of postured a bit like, "Could I help you?"
Yes. Calm down, though. I mean, you and your wife, no harm. I assume you're married. Are you married?
No, this is my sister.
Oh shit. Well, that's my bad then. She's lovely, and I don't want to assume. I don't want to imply anything weird's going on. So forget I said anything. You seem like nice people.
Okay, what can we do to help you?
I don't know why that caught me funny the way you replied. Sorry. Okay. As you may have been aware, the water in this town has been dried up. The well hasn't been working. I don't know if you've heard about all the rigmarole going on about who's down there making it happen and bringing it back, but the water's back. Were you aware the water was back?
No, that's good news. How did it come back?
Well, it's a long story, but we went down into a hole and came out clean on the other side. And part of that was fixing the well, and now it works, damn it. So get water and let all your friends know.
Wait. What hole? I mean...
Shit. It's kind of like assuming this is your wife.
The Hillmaster, I think, they sent everyone to go start digging, and I wasn't part of that, but I assume whatever they did fixed it, or just sort of...
That's all you need to know.
I mean, how did you fix it?
We fixed it.
What hole?
That's all there is to know. We fixed it. That's it. How much more do you want to know? Gosh, you're a nosy.
Well, you said there was a hole. You said where's the hole? Like,
well, where do you think water comes from?
I want to know more about how this well works.
Water comes out of the ground. That's where it comes from. Out of the ground, up through this pump, and into your belly. Dumbass.
This town. This time we work together. If you know something about how this pump works, it can only surely help to tell other people. Why are you not saying anything to me?
I'm not in charge of this operation. If they want to tell you how we did it, they can tell you. I'm not telling you a thing. All you need to know is that there's water, it's clean, and we saved it.
Who are you talking about?
Talk to the fancy boys named Stanley. We'll see each other again soon.
Well, one thing is for sure. We are glad that the well is operating. The woman goes, "Yes, we're glad that the well is operating."
Sisters Mickey Mouse.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure you knew. Please spread the word, because I don't have a way to let everybody know. And to be honest, I'm sort of being a gopher right now, and it pisses me off. So I'm leaving. But I want you to know the water's good. Tell your friends. Tell your sisters right here. Tell your friends. And just know that the right people came at the right time and fixed your shit. I gotta go.
We will. It sounds like your heart's in the right place. I'm sorry if I was aggressive there, but if you know something, you need to tell someone, huh?
I don't even know if I have a heart.
They look at you and they're about done talking with you at this point, so they go to leave. They're just
Okay.
like
They
you
walk
see
out of there.
the woman tug on her brother's shoulders, and they kind of just decide to.
All right.
It's a good time to leave.
They
now.
wander off. All right. They've had it with me.
I have never been so happy about a decision to send someone somewhere in my life. Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
Okay.
So
All
now
right,
I'm done. And what am I doing? I go back to meet them, or where am I supposed to go from here?
So it sounded like the reconvene time was tomorrow morning, so you can go to your place where you camp and hang out by yourself. Like,
All right.
how do you spend the rest? Where do you sleep? What do you do?
I'm going to go. So just as you remember, outside of town, Nash has a crag in the rocks that is just enough to cover in case of rain or a sandstorm or something, and sort of just gives him that. I'm just going to go lay down and get some damn rest from all this stuff I've been through with you guys.
Sounds like a fine idea.
All right. Great.
Get some sleep. Feel
Yep,
better.
I'll let go.
All right. Now we move to Varel.
Sweet. I
So-
head out.
You head out the gates. It's dusk. That's the evening time, right? Dusk. And you go out there, and it's the desert. Nothing. As you leave behind you, there is a mountain range where Dust Hill is nestled into, but everything 270 degrees out is nothing but flat brown sand and blue cloudless sky.
Cool. I will
Purple
start by
now.
scaling one of the cliff sides to get on top of the little mountain and view out into the desert to see if I can see a camp or something.
All right, let's have you. It takes about 10 minutes to get up to climb up to a height that is good for viewing. As you get up there, you have it sort of still looks the same, but you have a higher angle. So from there, you can roll a perception check to see if you're looking for movement. I take it.
No, I figured they are dumb little critters, jumped in their cars excitedly, got about maybe 2 hours out, and then got sleepy and set up camp, actually kind of in range of the
Okay. And so that would have been this afternoon, right? So maybe we're looking at they're a couple hours out. Okay. You climb up. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Perception of 23.
Okay, so as you squint on the horizon, and your eyes are trained to look for predators in the desert area more so than most other races, you actually do see the presence of sand billowing into sort of dust. You don't see any actual vehicles or goblins, but you see sort of a disturbance that is unusual for the desert that to your eye looks like the trail of, when vehicles drive over the sand, they kick up tons of sand and dust in the air. And you can, about southeast from your location, you can see that disturbance very faintly on the horizon.
Thinking about the map and my own awareness of the desert, what direction would that be towards the slave towns as we kind of interpreted last time?
Right, from the map. I mean, southeast would be the direction of Slave Town according to the map that you looked at yesterday. Who was carrying the map, by the way? Did you take the map with you, or?
I thought
Oh,
John
Hope
had
has it. Okay.
Oh, Hope has it? All right.
Yeah, they would be heading southeast. Now, it did denote that it was 120 miles per hex on the map, which would mean it's probably going to take 7 to 9 days at a certain clip, traveling at 10 hours a day to make it that far, assuming the map was correct, somewhere 7 to 9, 7 to 10 days.
Thinking about this information, looking back at the cloud, is it booking it, or could we catch up? And would I even have an understanding of how fast Hope's car can go, I guess? So
that's, yeah, you're gonna have to find that out, those details out from Hope. But essentially, the goblin, essentially, the goblins are large in number, so they may stop to camp. Whereas if somebody who didn't stop to camp may be able to gain on them in that way. You're also not sure what you can't tell what their speed is from here, but.
Cool. So I got an assessment. I will mark it mentally with the stars that align and the direction and the sort of mental map I have going. Before I descend down, I'll kind of head over to the edge of the cliff that is parallel to the gap where the main door would be to the town.
Okay. Parallel to the gap. Got it.
And on top of there, out of view from downward, I'll take out the axe, Dharma's axe, head down on it and slam it into the rock as a little marker grave. And also reassurance that if I ever have to defend this fine gate, there's an axe up here waiting for me that I trust.
Okay, excellent. Then you do so. Do you want to roll for it? I don't need to, really. I wonder if this was like how deep do I sink it?
Round with a 16.
Okay, so you sink it in there real good, and then you go to try and pull it out a little more gently, and you realize that you sunk it in quite good, and that it's like a lock for you. Only you'll be able to pull that out.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's like Mjolnir or something. You're like Thor. I like it.
As you do this and sort of satisfactorily take in your work, you hear the sound of rocks falling down a cliffside to the rear of you.
Oh, okay. I'll go squat, kind of down on all fours and hunting. Sure.
Okay, so you go squat and you sort of take a look around as you're doing that, and you have a sense that you may not be alone.
Uh-oh.
Who's there? I am Borel, defender of this town.
You get nothing in response
except for birds.
You take a look at you're on the wall, like the rampart, right?
Yeah.
So the rampart is clear, but in the direction you came from, this is where you heard some rocks tumbling, and you sort of take in, and you just see nothing but rock and sky.
I will stand pretending, as best I can pretend as Borel, that I am calm. I have assured myself, quote unquote, that this is nothing, and I start to turn and walk away with my ears pierced behind me, listening for whatever's going on.
Okay. So you're gonna have to go the way you came, or to walk further down the rampart? Sorry.
If the sound is behind me on the cliffside, I'm doing a stroll. I'm calm. I'm just walking along the top here.
Okay. As you get up and do that, you you hear movement again, and you're nailed in the back of the head with a large stone. Okay, you take 7 points of damage.
Holy shit!
Wow.
A very large stone. And as you sort of shake it off and look to see where it came from, you see a goblin there, having just thrown it, looking at you expectantly as if you're about to die, and then the growing horror of fear that you haven't. You're about 60 feet away from him. It's also difficult terrain, and he's up on the rock. He's up, like higher up in the hills of the rocks.
Oh, we were looking for one of you. Running at him.
Okay. Is this a dash action, or
I plan to capture him, but
okay.
There's definitely going to be a tackle of sorts. And if he doesn't survive that, he wasn't strong enough to be in my world.
Okay, perfect. So you have he's fairly far away from you, so you can, because it's difficult terrain, you can move 15 feet or 30 to dash, but that uses your action, and he'll still have space between you.
Okay, cool. So what I'll do is the sort of long version. If he's up on a slight rise, I'll run to the right, doing a curve around him, so that as he would be viewing the majority of my profile, running sideways rather than an easy frontal target, because I learned my lesson from the last bullet in the head.
All right. So you do that. You don't take a frontal approach. You take a side approach. He tosses another rock at you. Just as you move out of view, it does clip you, and you take another 3 points of damage as this guy with the baseball pitch arm just rifles you again with rocks he's finding. Your turn. You this time you will be able to make it up to him based on the angle you've done. So you can use your move and your action.
Perfect. And with the second rock throw, I've gained confidence that he does not have a gun at this point, and I will. And how big is this? Like 4 foot, 3? How big is the guy?
He's about 4 foot tall.
Cool.
I will like half your height.
I'll go for sort of just a body, my weight into him, shoulder into the ground, maybe breaking the collarbone, just a jump on top of him, tackle, slam.
Okay, that sounds like a grapple. So let's do that. Strength check for you.
Oh, I got a 1.
Oh.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, so as you go to run to tackle him, you misestimate the difference incorrectly, and you miss and you hit the ground, so you're prone. And the goblin just sort of looks up at you and quickly picks up a rock and is like holding it over your head to put the final blow on you. This time, however, he goes to drop it, and you nimbly sidestep. You're like prone. You're looking up. You're like, whoa, and sidestep the rock, and it hits the ground with a thud. Dust flows out from the rock. You can now make another attempt.
Cool. Since I'm on the ground, I'll grab his ankle and try to pull him out from under his feet.
Okay, so if you're going to do that from prone, it is with disadvantage.
Okay. A 14.
Okay. So you do manage to grab. Oh wait, I have to roll because it's grapple. Yeah, you do manage to grab onto his ankle and pull him down prone as well. And the rest of the move is up to you to describe to get into your grapple.
Cool. So I grab him by the leg, pull him down on his back, and since I'm on my back too, I'm just gonna start pillow slamming him, rolling on my side and going 1, 2, 1, 2 on either side, kind of hulking but laying down.
Will he yell?
Wait. Are you taking and smashing him?
Yeah. Well, just one to start.
Okay.
To fade him out.
Will he say one? Roll. Will he say 1, 2 as he does it, or no?
That's only if the 2 is necessary.
All right. Okay.
With 1.
Is this for lethal or for unconscious?
This is for just slamming his face in the ground, non-lethal.
Okay.
All right. Still with disadvantage?
No. I assume you put yourself in a standing spot for that.
Cool. Then a 14 again.
Okay, so you roll your damage dice.
It would be 6.
Okay. So he's you. I'm not 100% clear exactly. Like is he by the legs or by the arms or by his head? Like how are you? Were you holding?
I got a hold of his leg and I yanked him down, and while he's on his back, I sort of flip onto my side like I'm gonna spoon somebody, but bring him with me and slam his body down.
Right. Okay. So you swing him over, and his head hit rock with a satisfying thud. You hear the crunch of bone, spittle, like just spit fly and phlegm fly from his mouth, and there's a cloud of dirt from hitting him. The impact has like knocked a bunch of dirt loose from his couple of hairs and skin. It's a satisfying thud, and now he's still struggling to catch his breath. He's still there. He tries to break from your grasp. Can you roll a strength check, please?
Strength check. 8.
Okay, so he does. After you hit him that way, he does manage to yank his leg free, and he scrambles prone up the hillside trying to get away from you.
Okay, I will. I will go to pick up a rock, think better of my last projectile attack, and instead do a intimidate in Goblin, where I speak that language, of This only goes one way. You come with me or you die.
Okay.
With a 17.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
The goblin is scrambling frantically up the hill, and he stops. And then he sort of turns around and he rolls into a fetus, but he's looking up at you and he says, and he's saying, "Please, mercy, Lizard King, mercy, Lizard King," is what he's saying.
And then I'll walk over to on top of him, still holding the rock in one hand, but not in like a ready to slam you kind of way, and say, "You're lucky. The humans are soft and require information in Goblin."
And he goes, and he's also like, "Delicious, humans, delicious."
Occasionally.
Oh no!
And so now the goblin turns to you and says, and he's saying, he's swearing fealty to you.
Oh, you're gonna get a little goblin helper.
He says, "Spare life," he says, "Spare life. We'll serve a Lizard King. Spare life. Serve Lizard King." We're gonna have to drop.
Light up. I'll go down on one knee, and I will hold you to your oath.
And he gives you the most mistrustful sort of look. Not mistrustful, just guilty look. Like, you don't get the sense that this loyalty is very tenuous at this time. Like, as goblins are, and you're familiar with goblins, is they readily make and break promises like the wind. So, for what it's worth, he has made that commitment to you.
Then I won't give a chuckle. A goblin's oath, no less, and grab him by the scruff and start heading back into town.
Okay. Very good. All right. So now we move over to Stanley. Stanley, what are you doing?
I'm looking for Jen.
Oh, that's right.
Right. So you're aware. Where have I put Jen? So Jen lives near Wilma, who's the schoolmaster.
Oh, good.
Well, Wilma is the one who was Thomas's wife, right?
No, Jen is Thomas's wife.
Shit, I did it again. That's right. So Jen is the schoolmaster, and Wilma and Aaron is the toothless people.
The toothless people. They're missing one tooth collectively.
It just helps me remember. I'm writing it down.
The toothless people.
Jen lives near Wilma and Aaron, so you're aware of that.
Great.
She lives near the school on the western side of Dust Hill, which is actually fairly close to the Hillmaster's tent. So you could try her house. That would be, where you'd probably find her.
All right. I go over and I knock on the door.
As you approach, and before you knock on the door, these huts have open windows, no glass on it, just open, and you do hear the sounds of crying. You hear crying in there, and you also hear the sounds of a couple kids, like they seem to be playing while she's crying. They're just saying kid stuff to each other.
All right. I'm going to still go ahead and knock.
Okay. You hear, "Go away, I don't want to see anyone."
That's fine, Jen. The problem is, it's Stanley Billings, by the way. Hello. The problem is, I thought you might like some closure on what happened with Thomas, and those of us who were there are planning on leaving in the morning. And if you had questions, we won't be available to answer them. This is kind of the only opportunity. I apologize for the timing, but I would hate to leave you without closure.
What more could you possibly tell me? Thomas died, and you or someone, he was betrayed by someone. I don't trust anyone here. Just go away.
All right, I leave.
Okay.
He's out.
I should have had you roll a persuasion check, but you would have failed it anyways.
Oh, okay.
So it's fine.
Your fate is not yours.
She's not in the mood to speak.
All right. I think that would probably be it. I'd probably wait to hear back from Nash, who's apparently not coming back, about the status on the well.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to let him know.
Okay,
I?
so you make your way back to the well to find out the status of the well. And you see there's an older lady knitting.
Hold on a second. Did I waste my time at the well? Was he going to go there no matter what?
No, I was waiting for you to come back. You left town. You ran the water, yelled at some people, and then left the
town. As you make your way down the path, because the path where Jen-Jen's house actually does lead towards the well, you hear a voice from behind you yell, "Wait! Wait! Wait!"
Okay.
You turn around and you see Jen with a shawl on, sort of standing there, and says, "Fine, say what you're gonna say to me." And then she turns around and walks back to her house.
All right, I follow her.
Okay. So the door is left open a crack. You enter in. It's a typical mud hut furnishings. There's evidence of a man who lives at Thomas's. You know, we got mud boots there. There are clothes in sort of a closet area where you hang up your coat. To be polite, there are two kids playing with little like wood and like cloth ratty dolls, and she goes to sit down at their dining table in the center. Most huts are about one room and a bedroom, maybe a second bedroom for kids. So she sits down in the hut and sort of turns away from you and sort of stares into the wall.
Thank you for letting me say my piece, Jen. I know you are friends to Wilma, who is certainly not a fan of ours. And I'm not here to try to convince you that we're good or that she's bad. But I am here to tell you, at least as best as I can, what happened to your husband, so that you might at least understand what went on.
I'm listening.
As you know, the water in Dust Hill stopped functioning. The reason for this is because the previous Hill Guard learned that the Hillmaster was not being honest with the town. They learned that he was keeping secrets from them. And I don't know if they were simply trying to force him into a confrontation or what their ultimate goal was, but they're the ones who stopped the water. I don't believe they did it with any intent to actually harm the town. I think they actually probably did it with the town's best interests in mind. However, ultimately, the fault of all of this falls on the Hillmaster's associate, Softhead. I don't know if you ever met him.
Yeah, I know that little creep.
Well, Softhead, it turns out, is the one who decided to turn everything into violence. He murdered, we believe, most of the previous Hill Guard.
I'm sitting here mourning the loss of my husband, and you're concerned about whether I blame you or some shitty gnome?
I don't care.
Is this what you came here to tell me?
I don't care where you place the blame. I simply want you to understand why.
No, you haven't explained anything. Why is my husband dead? For what purpose did he die? He was asked and took with great pride defending this town. And all I know is that it wasn't some goblin who killed him. It was someone from the town that he loved dearly that ended up killing him. And I don't know if it was you or that goblin or that Hillmaster. Oh, I know he was a pervert. But I don't care. I don't trust the lot of you. Any of you. I don't believe you. I don't believe Wilma or them either. They just want their sympathies, so that they just want that. And she looks away. Wish everyone would leave me alone.
Well, Jen, we're going to give you what you wanted. I thank you for your time. I'm not going to hold up anymore. In the days that follow, you're going to hear many stories from many people, myself included. And to be honest, I don't care whether or not you believe me. I was there. I know what Thomas did and what Thomas didn't do. And I know in his heart he was doing everything he could to protect the town. And that is ultimately what cost him his life.
Her face is making ugly face and just fighting back the tears to try and be dignified in front of you. Just go. Just go.
He
stood
was
enough.
a good man. And I stand up, I gather my cloak, and I'm going to set 5 gold. Does she have a cloak hanging up there?
Yeah.
I'm going to put 5 gold into it.
Like a little
Stealthily.
tip. All right.
Stealthily.
Okay.
You really
She
are a
wants
criminal.
girls.
You're like, I can't make her feel better. Let me give her gold.
What?
You do it. It's fine. Yeah, your character never ceases to amaze me.
He's amazing.
Okay, you leave 5 gold in there, and you leave.
Oh, man. Look at the gold go. Yeah, I leave.
Okay, so you exit, and it's gotten a bit darker out now as it's dusk. So you can see okay because you have dark vision. But when you exit, you notice that there was a few people around, and now this particular row is quiet. There's no lights on in any houses, and it's just dark. And apart from the sobbing you now hear from the house, you don't hear too much. But it's dark, and it's kind of unnervingly quiet.
Well, having not heard anything from my friend Nash, who was sent to check the well, which should have been a relatively quick and easy mission for him, I guess I will make my way there to see if he's waiting for me.
Okay. And as you start to make your way down, you do see out of the corner of your eye movement, briefest of movements, and then like of a figure perhaps behind one of the houses who has moved out of view.
All right, I am going to continue my walk, but I'm going to grip my rapier and put another hand on the dagger that I keep concealed, just subtly, and keep walking.
Okay. As you keep walking, you do begin to hear footsteps behind you.
All right, I'm going to turn and see.
Okay. And it looks as though you take a peek. Roll a perception check, please. Behind yourself.
Not good. 8.
All right. You take a peek behind you, and because of your dark vision, you are able to see that there's someone near Jen's house, sort of clutching the wall and walking behind you. You definitely get the feeling that you're followed. You're being followed.
Does it look like they're following me or like they're going towards Jen's house?
Unclear, but probably for you. As you sort of take stock and see that figure freezes, and you hear again footsteps now from behind you again.
Okay, I'm gonna move not at a run, but at an accelerated rate to try and duck down whatever, just a break line of sight, essentially. Whatever's nearest to do that. As
you go to make a move out, you see the wife of Wilma, whom you know as Aaron, the husband of Wilma, whom you know as Aaron, step out from behind the shadows and stand in front of you, blocking your path. And he puts his fingers on your chest and pushes it. And he has a look of ill intent in his eye.
Well, if it isn't Wilma's husband, what can I do for you this evening?
And he just looks at you and he says, I have a message from the farmers of Dust Hill. And he reaches from behind his back and pulls out a knife. And as you sort of take a step and look at that, you hear footsteps now behind you as well, approaching closer and not trying to conceal it. You see, if you take a quick peek behind you, and you see it's the guy you always see with this Aaron guy. I'm not sure what the relation is, and so Aaron's like this stout, farmer, tan, muscly, has brown hair, quite handsome actually, but very intense looking. And the friend of his is more skinny. I think kind of like what's this Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad? Like just the skinny, like looking almost like having like a dog features for a human, and really bad teeth. All right, roll for initiative.
Oh boy.
What's your roll?
21.
Okay, so you get to act first.
Great. I love acting first. All right. So Aaron is right in front of me, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, about how far away is he?
Right behind you.
Oh, he's right behind me. Oh boy.
Moving away will provoke opportunity attacks.
What is the guy behind me armed with?
Unless you take the disengage action, by the way. He is armed with a knife as well.
Okay. I am going to spin on the guy behind me, and I am going to cast Dissonant Whispers on him.
Okay.
So immediately I spin, and he has to make a Wisdom 14 saving roll first.
Okay. All right. It fails.
So I spin, my eyes immediately flare a fiery neon pink, and I point at him, and he just hears echoing into his head, "You dare try to attack me in the middle of the town? I can end you at any time I wish." And he's going to take... He takes 5 damage and must move as far away from me as his movement will allow.
Okay. Does he? Okay. So his face changes in this way that like all of a sudden it's possessed by fear, and he starts booking it. He just goes and he books it down the row and turns to the left out of sight.
And so I will turn, and just with whatever free action I have left, I will look at Aaron and I will say, "You do not want to fuck with me."
Aaron takes that as a challenge and grips the knife and makes a waist level plunge of the knife. This is a hit. The knife swings.
This is close I had to a swing.
That's fine. Oh, I gotta get the right dice first.
There's a swing. There.
All right, swings, and he sinks the knife into your side for 7 points of damage.
Ugh.
And he sinks it in, and as he sinks it in, he's not looking at his work. He's looking at you right in your eye. The sort of intimacy of him having penetrated you with the knife, and he's just, and you know that he's going to do more. It's your turn.
I'm in trouble. I'm out of spells. All right. I am going to reach out, take his wrist with my hand, and shove my rapier into his chest and turn.
Okay, roll your attack.
Natural 20.
Okay, so how exactly do you roll your double damage dice? I always forget about that. Roll.
Let's see. The rapier is... So I just roll the damage dice twice, right? And
That's
then
right.
add the modifier to it.
Yep.
That's 11 damage.
Describe how you murder him.
Oh my gosh. All right. I shove the rapier straight through his heart. I keep holding on to his wrist. I look him dead in the eye and say, "Told you so. Don't come at me with a dagger when I'm armed with a sword." Then I push his wrist out so it pulls the knife out and let him just fall backwards.
Okay, and do you pull the rapier out?
Yeah.
Okay, so you pull the rapier out, and he just looks, the look of shock in his face, and he's trying to talk, and nothing but gurgling blood comes out, and it shoots out from his chest and from. And he's suffocating on the blood.
Oh, the man,
He
gee.
gets down on his knees. He's like, and now he just lies on the ground, and it's just blood continuing to shoot from his mouth and from his chest, and he's just clutching at his throat, and he's just. And you watch this for a solid minute or two.
What about his friend?
His friend doesn't appear to have returned. It's just
He
gone.
doesn't return. He just disappeared over the hill.
Well, that would have freaked me out too, the way my friend died. I would have been like, ooh, okay, I'm out.
The alley is now silent.
All right. I cast Prestidigitation on the rapier. And I walk
Done.
to the well.
It's clean, and as you clean it, the little sparkle goes bing.
And I walk to the well holding my side.
Okay. Yeah, you are stabbed, so you are limping. So you're in an incredible amount of pain right now.
Mm-hmm. I can confirm that. All right, did I get to the well okay?
You got to the well, yeah?
All right, I'm gonna check and see if the water's working, seeing as somebody didn't do their job.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pay for this later, aren't I? This is
So
gonna...
you go to like turn the valve on, and it's the last person to close it closed it way too tight. You can't get it open. And as you try, like your side it just lights up on fire with pain, and you're like ah!
I'm gonna just sink to the ground holding my side and take a couple second breather to reflect on how badly this day has gone.
Okay, so you sink to the ground to do that, and you're very tired. A wave of exhaustion just flies over you. Make a Constitution save, please.
Constitution, where is it? 17.
Okay. You're in danger of falling asleep. You managed to fight off actually passing out right by the well, but now you're sitting leaning on the well device, and you're feeling extremely lethargic, and you're just sitting there clutching your side and
I'm going to get up and try to make it back to my tent and do my best to patch myself up back there.
Okay, so that's what you'll do at the evening is go back. All right. So you get up, you make your way to your tent, you throw off all your crap, and you spend some time with some water that is present, and start cleaning it off and tending to your wound. Okay. Do we have any other stuff to conclude before we move on to the next day that we didn't yet? Pharrell's got Nash. How's the crag?
Yeah, Nash crashed.
Good. I'm glad you're having a fine evening.
You know what? Nash should have. What I should have done is realized I should have woken up going, "Oh shit! I forgot to tell Stanley," and went back and helped intercept this problem. But I'm not even that cool. I'm just asleep.
Fine. It's fine. In the order, I didn't think Stanley would make such a big issue out of it, so it's two of us that were fooled. All right, let's then. Everyone goes back to or stays where they are. I assume, Vorel, that are you dealing with this goblin in any way, or trusting him to sleep near him?
No, I'm going straight back into town. I'm gonna, goblin, got a goblin.
Well, as you get back into town, I mean, a lot of people are in their huts, and so there isn't really anyone to show it off in that front area. I don't know if you're going to see anyone in particular about it.
Okay, so I'm walking to town and everyone's asleep. Guess to the garage then.
Okay. So you make your way to the garage, and you see Hope is in there putting away guns at this time.
Is my goblin making noise as I head down the route? Are we?
He's just the goblin has been. I mean, unless you're carrying him, he will obediently sort of follow you around.
Oh, that's
Okay,
great.
so at this point, I was scruffing him, or at least by the back of the shirt or little goblin vest, whatever he's got on. And as he starts to kind of catch his own feet and show that he's willing to walk himself, I'd still hold on to his scruff, but I'd let him carry his own body weight.
Okay. So you and you and the goblin.
Standing in the doorway, almost like my hand is on the shoulder of my little son. Hope! Hope! Look what I found!
Oh, is that a goblin?
Yes, and these are the rock marks he left me with.
Rock marks, what happened? And I'll run over and I'm looking for a clean cloth because there's blood on both of these people, and I'll start trying to clean them off as best I can, like, oil being wiped off of the car. What's his name? As I'm cleaning off his little goblin face.
Yes, I didn't think to ask him that. He has put debt to me though, which is pretty nice.
A life debt? What happened? You both are beat up.
Yes, but my superior strength won out, and he clearly, cowering in fear, admitted his life to mine.
Oh, so a life debt?
Perhaps the goblins, a piece of meat could make him cause a life debt. It's pretty
so in the middle of this, the goblin looks, because the goblin, he's been quiet and just sort of entertaining, doing what you command him to do and behaving. Strangely
I'll
enough.
offer him some water.
He looks at you, Vorel, and says, and he's asking you if he can eat the pretty purple lady.
Oh, good question. And then down on one knee to no.
And he kind of looks a bit dejected, but ultimately is satisfied in obeying his lizard god's directive.
So, what's your name, little one?
Tell the woman your name.
He goes,
Bok Bok.
It's like a chicken.
He taps his hand and says, Bok Bok! Bok Bok!
Bok Bok. Oh, Bok Bok. Hope. Can you say hope?
The goblin looks to you, Vorel, and says, he's asking if he can eat her now that he's introduced himself.
Oh, that's very, very gentlemanly of you. No. Hope, do you have anything that this small creature could perhaps feed on?
Let me see. There's a lot of metal scraps in here. We'd have to go to the inn. I don't really have anything around here.
Perhaps it is best then that we lock him up and proceed on our way here to fetch him food.
But what do goblins eat? I mean, if we're gonna keep him in the garage, I don't want him starving, especially if he's gonna lead us to the slaves.
He might. He's rather famished, and imagine, if you will, what's your favorite food, Hope?
Oh, my favorite food. Probably a baked potato.
So a baked potato, giant one, is talking to you right now, and you're starving.
Oh. Look at the little one. Well, that makes it even more imperative that we get this little man some food.
Yes, before he talks, otherwise the derangement of all the talking moist minstrels in front of him might be too much.
So, Bok Bok, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite food that's not tiefling?
I will convey this to Bok Bok.
And so he went on a long tirade, whatever a goblin tirade sounds like, because they don't use proper sentence structure, about how delicious babies are. But mostly he likes human babies, but he will eat lizard babies, and he'll eat or other goblin babies. He's like, it's not the most ethically good thing to do, but he will do it. He basically is talking about the different flavors of babies.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say, Vorel? What does he like?
Young babies, the soft ones. Soft head. His body's he's underneath.
No, I have it. The inn, they serve a meatloaf. Probably one of the best meatloafs I've ever had. Hold on, and I'll head to the inn and see if I can buy a meatloaf.
Okay, well, there's no inn here, but there is the food shanty, right, where people
the
feed
food
and
shanty,
cook.
Then.
So you can go there and do that. It takes about 30 minutes. There's nobody working there right now because the place is recovering from an attack, so you can look for yourself to see if there's a meatloaf. You don't find a meatloaf there. However, you do find there are meats there. There's just like, from what Vorel's traded into town, as well as what's farmed, the pig and cow that is farmed here.
Are there any baby pigs or
There are
baby-shaped foods?
There are chew worms, which part of the protein diet for the people of Dust Hill is to eat chew worms, because meat is sporadic, but chew worms are plentiful, and they reproduce quickly. So they're just worms. You fry them or eat them raw. They're very good. He might like the chew worms.
All right, I'll bring in some chew worms. Just a nice little sack of chew worms.
Okay, so you come back after some time away, and you hand the chew worms to him, and he looks at it, and he takes it, and he smells it. And he's complaining to Vorel that he's not a big fan of chew worms, but he's eating it anyway, so.
And I'll be like, oh, so lucky. Mmm.
He says he's thanking you, Lizard God, for providing him with food.
Lizard.
I will be.
Lizard God, is that right? He's calling him a lizard god now?
Yes. Well, God and King are like interchangeable
Okay.
words in Goblin.
No, I'm loving it either way.
I'll start clearing out one of the mesh wire storage things in the garage so that he can still see out, and there are plenty of air holes. And if
Like he's a dog, basically.
Yeah, a little kennel for him.
Okay, perfect. So he looks at it and he recognizes it as a cage, and he looks to Vorel for instruction to stop some.
I'll put little rags in there too to make a little bedding for him and everything. Get some water.
Aw.
He won't go in until Vorel approves.
Varel?
Sizable and no broken limbs as well. This is a fine treatment for a captor, yes?
He goes, "Arr, arr, arr," and he walks in and looks down. Looks a little dejected about being treated like a captor, even though you can tell he feels he's been very good and behaved himself to the lizard god.
Continue to prove it, and in the morning we shall talk more.
Okay. All right. So he's locked away safely now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. So it is now that time for the break.
Ah, yes. The break.
So I think we will pick up tomorrow morning. So when I say any last items, just any quick other items before tomorrow morning that anyone wanted to resolve.
No,
How
I
late
am
is it?
unconscious.
It's evening. We're getting to evening. It's dark out. Maybe 9 or 10 p.m.
Okay, cool. Because at one point before we leave, I want to talk to Shanti about my wrench. But if we have time before we take off tomorrow, then I would do it
tomorrow would be best. Most people
Perfect.
after a busy day like that, it's not socializing hours. So,
Cool.
yeah.